Hi, this is Mia Renee. Sexpert has been a dream of mine for the last 2 years, and now it's finally a reality. Help support Sexpert and keep it free for all listeners. I'm paying out of pocket each month, and with a small contribution from select members, I'll be able to afford to keep Sexpert up and running. Visit sexpert.podbean.com and click on the Become a Patron button to learn more about the crowdfunding system. You can also find the direct link in the show notes below. Thank you for listening.
You're listening to Sexpert with Mia Renee, where we say words like piece of shit, motherfucker, cocksucker, cunt. We get so dirty that even your mother's soap bar can't clean our mouths. You've been warned.
Welcome to Sexpert with Mia Renee, where we talk everything sex. Get ready for awkward topics, inappropriate jokes, foul language, and a little bit of education. We are no doctors, just young adults looking to inform our generation about sex so they can live healthier, naughtier lives. I'm Mia Renee, your host. Are you ready? Hi guys, welcome to Sexpert. I'm Mia Renee, your host, and we are here tonight teaching our generation how to lead healthier, naughtier lives. Episode 6, today we are talking all about anal sex, and we have regular co-hosts Amb and Mason on the show tonight, as well as a regular guest, Austin, on the show. How's everyone doing?
Good. How about you?
Been good. Austin just fucking dropped out of the call. We've been having a lot of technical difficulties tonight, folks. So I guess Austin will either not be joining us or he'll try to call us back. I don't know. So hopefully he's able to get his stuff working. He just texted me and actually said he has to drop out. Boo-hoo. Rip? It's just us. Everyone has to deal with our bullshit. Welcome. It's just Mason and Am. So, if y'all don't know who Mason is, he was actually on the Blowjob episode 4. And since Caroline had to leave us after last episode as a co-host, Mason has come on, and we're super excited to have him. And he's wearing sunglasses again. I just realized that.
It's going to be a tradition. I fucking love those glasses.
That's perfect. I fucking love those glasses too. They're great. All right, so let's jump into some sex today. I found this really funny video online through, through complex.com, and it's porn stars recommend what to eat before anal sex. And of course this will be listed in the show notes below. It's about a 3-minute long video, and it's just a couple of porn stars just talking about like what they find is best to eat before doing anal. And some of the things that they said, well, one of the things that was collectively said was it just depends on how your body works, right? And then the other things were like some women preferred broth or soup, or like a protein shake or like a protein bar before going in so that you have a lot of energy, but aren't super stopped up. Or something that doesn't, or something that will take long to digest. So not eating something that's just gonna fucking go through your system like a fucking blink in an eye, and just, that made no sense, but just something that will take a long time to digest. And then someone said rice because it constipates you, which I thought was pretty funny. So I definitely go check that out. And I found this other funny kind of article. I'm not going to read everything in it because I don't want to talk too much about like women sharing their weird opinions on anal, because I want today to be more of an informative episode. But it was on Refinery 29. It'll be linked below as well. 8 women share their true feelings on anal sex. And the first woman, number 1, Erica Gerald Mason from Georgia, said this: anal is like turkey bacon. 1, sometimes you eat it, but you don't really enjoy it. 2, you are always pissed when you think you've ordered regular bacon, but somehow you get a little turkey bacon thrown in there. 3, there are people who will tell you turkey bacon is just as good as regular bacon. You just have to get used to it. Give it another try, they say. So you do. Number 4, you will realize there are 2 kinds of people in the world. People who like turkey bacon and people who don't. You are a don't girl. I thought that was hilarious. And the entire time I was reading it, I just kept thinking, well, fuck, I like turkey bacon. Like,
Okay.
like, I truly do. I like turkey bacon better than regular bacon. And that's without the innuendo attached. But I thought that was pretty cute. That'll be linked below as well. But yeah, today we're talking about anal. Are you guys like super pumped?
Oh no, to be honest, this is it's gonna be one of those days, one of those nights.
One of those nights.
So
Yeah, I felt like it was a topic that we should cover just for like educational purposes, and also to kind of enlighten other people on like what anal sex is. So like, what's the point of doing anal?
I mean,
And
it,
yeah,
you know,
go ahead, Mason.
I don't know, but I don't know, but I want to.
Oh, okay.
It's like
that's the mindset you need to be in.
yeah, it's like why would I ride this really scary, dangerous roller coaster? I don't have a reason, but holy fuck, I'm gonna do it if you let me. Like I want to. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a freak. Maybe I'm a thrill seeker because there's a lot of thrill to it. Because when anal goes good, it's great. When it goes bad, it's very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to try and tell you how to have better anal sex so that you aren't having bad anal sex the first time you try it or when you have it anyway. So what's the point of having anal sex? Well, there's like fucking hundreds of thousands of nerve endings that end in your fucking anus. Probably not that many. Actually, before we did the show, I really tried to find a definite number of nerve endings that end in the anus, and like there were no numbers out there. But there are a good amount of nerve endings that end in the anus. So yeah, you kind of have like what some might call a G-spot in the anus, and that both men and women have that. And it's a pretty common myth that like only men have that like sensitive spot in their anus, but women have it too. So I mean, yeah, so anal sex feels good when done right. Yeah. So then, you know, like, how do you prepare for anal sex? That's like another thing we're going to be talking about today. Like, do you just like go straight in? What do you eat? Like, we already talked about that. Like, there's a whole preparation, especially for people who are receiving anal sex. Like, you have to think about what you're eating, like how you're cleaning, stuff like that. And then like, what are some weird myths or like stigmas surrounding anal sex? Like, a guy must be gay if he wants to like have anal or like give anal, or a girl must be a whore if she wants to receive. And what weird stuff can happen? Can a guy truly get like shit on his dick? Can a girl truly like have a shit while having anal sex? Like, what is like weird shit that happens during anal? So all of this I hope to cover in today's episode, and we're going to be kind of guided with this really informative article, 14 things you should know before trying anal, on Cosmopolitan, but it's the UK Cosmopolitan. So number one, I don't really believe this. It says anal sex shouldn't hurt. I think that the first time anyone has intercourse, if you're receiving, it's going to hurt because you're stretching an area that has not yet been that stretched. But I believe that anal sex shouldn't hurt if you've like regularly had it and are approaching it like in a good way. So, I mean, think about it. Like, it's your anus. It's meant to stretch. You shit out of it. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, but you have to be careful because if you go in dry, you have the risk of like tissue tears, which isn't good. Because unlike the vagina, which is meant to birth fucking white ass children,
well,
like
what about the black ass children?
No, I said wide, not white. Sorry,
my bad.
Yeah, many colorful children, but they're like, you know, like if you've ever seen a baby being born, like a vagina is meant to fucking stretch. And an anus is not meant to stretch that wide, I would hope. So you do have to be careful because you're more at risk of tearing it. So this is why lube is key. And guys, I just could talk about lube forever. I fucking love lube. It's like my favorite thing in the entire world. So lube is super important. And from what I have seen, it is best to use like a thicker lube when having anal versus a thinner, like watery lube, so like an oil-based lube. Of course, you don't want to use an oil base if you're using a condom. But a thicker lube I have found works best because it provides more of like a longer glide, I guess you could say. That made no sense, but in my head it did. So like a thinner lube's gonna wear out quicker, right? So the thicker lube's gonna last longer and provide more lubricant.
Which,
that's a way better way of putting it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And like, you know, another thing is like the anus doesn't self-lubricate. The vagina does. So you have to be careful with that. You also want to, like, you know, before going in, you want to like embrace like fingering, and like a good rim job, like, you know, maybe some tongue to kind of like get the anus a little bit more stretched. And like ready to go, and especially with spit, that can help as a good lubricant as well. So anal sex shouldn't hurt. There are ways to prevent it from hurting as much. Lube, foreplay, relaxation's a big one. I mean, think about it. Your anus, you can clench it, and Mason, this obviously doesn't apply to you, but females are able to like clench their vaginas, right? Like, you know, that's the whole point of Kegels. You can do the same thing with your anus. So you just need to make sure that like the muscles in your butthole are fucking relaxed so you can take it. Because if you're really tense, it's not gonna be as good. So number 2 is you can orgasm from anal penetration. This goes back to the whole, like, nerve endings thing we were talking about earlier. So, some people can orgasm solely from prostate stimulation, that's anal sex, whereas some people need, like, some genital stimulation on the side. But, you know, if you're looking to increase your orgasm when having anal, basically building up your like anal sex experiences is what's going to help. So the use of sex toys, either during anal or like on the side when you're doing your own thing, or doing kind of like Kegels, what you do to increase the pelvic floor muscles in your vagina, doing something like that, but to increase, I believe it's the prostate like muscles there in the anus, and that's going to make it so you're more like sensitive. And it helps you have a better orgasm. Number 3, don't rush it. We talked about this before, right? Like, don't just, like, force it in, essentially.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Do you have a story?
Oh, I have plenty of stories. This episode is going to be chock full of stories if you let me. But...
Oh, you feel free to interject with any fucking stories you want to give.
So...
Because I'm ready to receive.
Oh, God. Okay. All right. Okay, I'll start with this. So you said, rim jobs, tossing the salad. I just like to call it that because I don't know. I try to feel cultured even though I'm disgusting, but whatever. And I found for me the hardest challenge I have with approaching anal is that the people I do it with seem to be a lot more put off by the idea of foreplay before anal than anal itself. It's like I've found more often than not someone's not okay with you tossing their salad than they are with you sticking their dick in their ass, and I don't understand that. I mean, I guess I kind of do, but at the same time I don't. And what really gets me, and I want you to bear with me for a second. What really gets me is there was this one girl totally against the idea of me giving her a rim job, but after anal she blew me. I don't get it. I don't get it. And so if you can enlighten me maybe what was going through her head, her logic there, I'd love to hear it. But I couldn't. I get, you know, she obviously has the right to not enjoy that and whatever. That's okay. I didn't understand it logically.
Yeah, and like for some girls it's more of a mental thing. Like they don't understand why you'd want your tongue down there or your fingers, but they can kind of like understand like a dick. It's so weird. And like, so it kind of grosses them out, the fact that you would want to be down there with your mouth and fingers. So I think that's a big thing for a lot of girls, or anyone receiving anal sex that isn't like super familiar into it. But it's so important. Like, it's so important. Just like you wouldn't want, you know, someone to slide in when there's been no foreplay. Like, it's so, so, so important to toss the salad and you know, the finger and like stuff like that. It's super important. So that could have been it. Like, I don't know, personally, like, I would prefer that. Like, I would prefer like a foreplay, but people are different. And then those experiences went like kind of, how did they go for you with entering and stuff like that?
At first, because there's been specifically 3 separate women, and the first one, which I knew nothing literally going into it, but at first it was kind of something we approached slowly because she was very new to it, and you know, obviously respecting boundaries and stuff like that. But as it kind of progressed, it did get progressively easier, and I think it became something more enjoyable for the both of us as things matured. But definitely at first it was very definitely painful. I don't think we prepared. I don't think for the first time, I don't think we prepared correctly, and it was definitely a big lesson to learn, because it was a painful situation, but definitely a lot to draw from going into the future. So I'm super glad that at least
A learning experience.
Yeah. I felt so bad.
Was it painful for you?
For me? No, it's great for me.
No.
It's always been great for me. I'm not gonna lie. I've always enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Because like, I feel like sometimes it could be painful for guys, like if like they go in dry and it's not, and it's really tight, almost like to the point that it's like, you know, just too tight on the penis.
Right. And I could totally...
I feel like, you know, totally it could be painful for guys when giving.
But I've just never had that experience. I'm sure it could. But
yeah,
I guess maybe I'm a lucky few.
Man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
you're just fine. Well, you know, and that's what happens. Like, there's going to be more painful if you don't have that preparation. It's always more pleasurable if you have that prep. So number 4 on this list is spooning as a good position to start with. I think that's great. I don't know what positions you guys have done, but like, everyone like assumes that doggy style is like the best, you know, way to do it, but spooning is also good because it's more like intimate, right? So it's good for first timers because you feel like the person who's receiving feels kind of less subjected in that sense. But, you know, you also kind of, you know, have to, it may be a little bit more awkward to enter that way. It's obviously a lot more easier to enter doggy style, and you want to make sure that, you know, you're nice and lubricated and stuff too. Have you ever done spooning with anal?
That's actually how that was how it all started out. Was we just kind of figured that would be the best way to go about it, and I mean, it worked out in the end. Like I said, I mean, it was really obviously, like, I could tell that the first time she didn't enjoy it because we didn't prepare correctly, and it was painful for her. And I felt bad about what was going on. I was like, I'm sorry, I don't want to continue, but like, we kept going, and it's just.
So did you finish then?
No, it not that time, and preparation is just so important. And that includes positioning. Like, positioning is part of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, memories. Ugh.
Definitely. And there's actually, like, I think, if I remember correctly, like, the least painful, or the most painful position to do is, like, missionary with anal sex is the most painful position. Number 5, use lots of lube. I mean, like, I just love lube so much. Like, if I could marry lube, I would. Just kidding. I've actually had bad experience with lube before. But lube is very important. So use a good thick lube so you don't fucking tear your asshole. Alright? Don't think I need to say it any other way. Number 6, don't have normal sex afterwards. This is so important. because people want to go straight from the anus to, like, the vagina. And that's how you get STIs, folks. It is so unsafe. And a lot of people probably think, oh, it's because I don't want, like, fucking shit in my vagina. Which, yeah, could happen. And, yeah, that could lead to infection. But you never want to go straight from anus to vagina. And you really never want to go straight from vagina to anus. Because that's just the way you're going to transfer things with, like, you know, you get, like, air bubbles. You know, there's such thing as, like, queefing, but in the anus, right? So you get, like, air bubbles, and that can form bacteria, and, like, you're switching back and forth. It's just, never do it. Number 7, being slow and careful is key. I mean, like, yeah, this is, like, super, yeah, like, you don't want to bleed, you don't want to tear anything, you want to be lubricated, like, you don't want them to feel like they're gonna explode. Speaking of exploding, make sure your bowel is empty and your anus is clean.
Damn.
Like, you definitely need to clean your anus out, and we're gonna talk about that a bit in a minute. But also make sure you've had a good shit before. Like, don't just, like, shit and then just, like, jump right in bed, like, clean a bit. But, you know, and that goes back to, like, what you're eating. Don't have some, like, fucking Mexican food, super spicy the night before, and then expect that anal sex is gonna be great the next night. Because you're probably gonna be having shit coming out of your fucking ears. Number 9 was a good one. I really liked this one. Have a bath beforehand. So I'm going to read the paragraph because it's good. So the fear of having an unwanted extra on your tongue, toy, or penis may be a turnoff, and it's important not to rule out a bit of a mess as a possibility, though there are ways you can prepare your body pre-play. Having a bath beforehand will ensure that the area is clean and will make for a more pleasurable and relaxing all-around experience. Not to mention that baths are super relaxing. So, and, you know, try even taking a bath with your partner. That's intimate. That's relaxing. You could get some foreplay in there. Super great way to prep for anal sex that I never thought of before, and I thought that was really great. 10, use a condom. Holy fuck. Just use a fun condom. But not to mention, using a condom actually can help, like, anal sex feel better because it makes it smoother. It takes out extra ridges. It adds that smoothness. Like, a lubricated condom will kind of add more of a smoothness. And it helps, you know, the penis insert the anus a lot easier as well. But it also helps you from getting AIDS and fucking dying. So that's good too. So always just use a condom, especially if you're just hooking up with someone and you don't have, like, papers to prove that they're safe. But I feel like using a condom with anal sex just needs to be super stressed because so many people think, oh, I'm not going to worry about it because you can't get pregnant from anal sex. But you can contract, you know, STIs, which is not good. 11. I feel like some of these are, like, reiterating previous points, but try anal foreplay first. Duh.
Yeah.
Rimming or anilingus, which in our last episode we talked about cunnilingus. In this episode, we're talking about anilingus. So, anilingus that ass. 12. You can get STIs from anal. Yes. A number of STIs can be passed on through having anal sex. These include chlamydia, gonorrhea, genital warts, genital herpes, hepatitis B, HIV, and syphilis. Hepatitis A or E. coli can also be passed on through oral anal contact. So be careful.
Yes.
And if you need to, use dental dams, which we talked about in our previous episode. 13. Anal sex is more common than you think. A lot of people believe that anal sex is only practiced, you know, among gay men, but heterosexual couples and even, you know, lesbian couples practice anal sex too. So there you go. Everyone's having anal. 14, which it's funny because this title says 15 things you should know and it only lists 14. 14. There is no specific time it should last. Yeah, so it just depends on how whoever's receiving it is enjoying it. If they're not enjoying it, don't keep doing it.
Yes.
Yes. And so, like, the average length of anal sex, it just depends on how everyone's enjoying it, you know? Like, if you're enjoying it, keep going. If you're not, stop.
Right. That was
Yay!
that was what was weird for me for my first time, because the person I was with was emotionally invested in wanting to succeed in that endeavor.
And, like, pleasuring you and everything, right?
But it was so
Right.
obvious that it was not going well for her that I had to convince her to stop. And I don't know if I sound maybe like I'm trying to brag or something. I'm not. I actually honestly felt bad, because I can totally understand how that's a horrible situation if you don't prepare correctly. And I think it's really important that you set your boundaries first before someone else, even if you are emotionally invested in what it is you're doing. Because, I mean, I feel like emotions are kind of important in sex, even if it is anal, but still, I think, you know, self-boundary is more important than pleasure. And being safe.
Yeah. And if you don't want to do it, don't do
Right.
it. Like, I feel like so many people, especially women, are pressured by their partner to have anal. And if it scares the shit out of you, or it makes you very uncomfortable, and you just don't want to do it, don't do it. And if you begin to think that you may want to try it, then look into it. Do some research. Figure out what may work best for you. Get some lube. You know, maybe you could have your partner try a couple fingers or a tongue, or try like a smaller size sex toy. You know, like, work your way up to anal. You don't have to decide, or you don't have to, like, try anything in your anus for the first time and it be anal sex.
Mm-hmm.
You can stick other things up your butt.
Oh, God.
So that's the moral of the story.
Well,
Yeah.
are you ready? Are you ready for the second story?
I'm so ready for all of your stories, Mason.
Okay, so this was the third time. This is number 3.
The third
we'll
time.
skip over number 2.
With the same girl?
No, three
Oh,
different people.
different girl.
This is
Okay, 3 different times. Okay, gotcha.
and oh God, I don't want to tell it, but I have to.
No one's forcing you.
No.
So if
no,
you don't
it's
want
important.
to, it's okay to say no.
It's important. It teaches
Okay.
a lesson, because it's not something that anal you have to prepare for it. It's something you can do spontaneously. You can do it spontaneously. But holy shit, it's going to be like, okay, we're going to do anal. Give me 15 minutes to go clean up, or however long it's going to take, because for the love of God, please clean up, because okay. I'm going to start the story off by saying that we were both kind of intoxicated, and I'm going to use that as my excuse. And so we're kind of into the foreplay section of the anal scapades, and it comes to the point where, you know, the pinky comes into play, and she asked for it. She actually like wanted, like you said, to loosen up, I guess would be the way to describe it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. All I'm going to say is that I came into contact with a part of her that I never even want to imagine. And
So, like, poop?
Yeah,
Or, like...
yeah.
Okay.
And it was just like, what the fuck at first, right? Because, like, you're in this, like, squishy area with your pinky, and all of a sudden it's something hard. And you're like, no, fuck that. I pulled my hand out. I just politely explained, like, I couldn't do this, and I went to sleep. And I never had anal scapades with that person again, because that grossed me the fuck out so much. Because, and I'm not saying that person was gross. By no means. Because it was just a situation of there was no preparation, but it ruined it. It ruined that person for me. I just couldn't get over it. Maybe I'm weak. I don't know. But it's so fucking important to prepare. Like, holy shit. Like, oh my God. So
Have you had anal since then?
with that person?
Have you... Or with anybody?
Yeah.
So you were, like, able to get over the traumatic experience of touching poop.
That was
All right.
that was
I'm so happy.
the last time I ever had anal. But I am prepared to do it again. I know that I am. It's just with that person specifically, I'm burnt out. There's no way.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Psychologically, it just bothers me. And maybe I have a weak soul. I have no idea. But
Yeah, so it's super important to prepare,
Yeah.
like deciding what you're going to eat. And of course it depends on your body, like what you're going to eat. Some women even go like, will go like a whole week without eating certain types of foods, you know, to prepare their bodies. You also want to make sure, yeah, that you have like cleaned out your bowels. So, in non-fancy terms, you've taken a shit, all right?
Yeah.
So you don't have anything lodged up in there. And then thirdly, you want to actually clean the anus, and that is what douching is. So for those of you that don't know what douching is, it's where the term douchebag came from, which is, I think, is so great. But douching is basically cleaning out your rectum. That's what it is. And you can find the materials to help you douche basically anywhere that first aid items or anything of the sort are sold. Like drugstores, Walmart, Target, wherever. And the actual, like, douching, like, what's it called? Like,
Nozzle?
the doucher. Nozzle thing.
Right.
Kind of reminds me of a turkey baster.
Blood bag? No.
Yeah,
Maybe, I don't know.
but like it kind of reminds me of one of those, or like a turkey baster, or like one of those things you clean a baby's snot out of their nose with. So it's like, it's hard to explain, but it has a long tip to it, and then, you know, it kind of like a what is it? What are they called? The things you use in like chemistry in high school. The little eye droplet, the drop
Eyedropper?
thing.
I have no idea.
It kind of looks like that, except a lot larger.
Yeah.
I'm really bad at describing things, as we have learned on this show. And then you just find a solution to use to put inside of it. You can buy pre-made solutions at the store. You can make your own. Like DIY solutions are usually like warm water with like some vinegar. But you can buy pre-made solutions at the store that you mix with warm water. And just when buying these pre-made solutions, you want to be careful not to buy ones that are scented, because yes, they make scented fucking solutions for your asshole. But yeah, and Mason's kind of like over there, because that would be a little weird to go down on a girl's anus and it smell like blueberries or something. Like, I feel like that would be weird, but that can actually like cause like a weird infection. Like, you want to use things that are more naturally based. You're putting it into your body, especially your anus there. And so basically what you do is, when you douche, you want to like be in the shower or like the bath, because it's not necessarily like super like messy. It can be. So it's best to be in the shower bath, in an area where you're already wet, so you're already relaxed. And so what you do is you just stick the nozzle up your butthole, and you just squeeze a solution into your anus, and it'll obviously fall, you know, it'll come out, and it rinses out your anus. And that's the idea of douching, so that you have a nice, clean booty hole for the anal sex. And that's how douching goes. And it's not that expensive either. You can buy like kits, or you can buy them individually, but it all comes out to about under $20. So it's not that expensive. Is that kind of how you imagine douching went, Mason? Like, how informed are you on douching, like, at all?
Well, yeah, I mean,
as a male who hasn't received, I'm assuming.
See, what I always just kind of assumed very rudimentary douches were a hose, a nozzle, and a bag filled with liquid. So I always assumed that someone would insert a douche inside themselves, squeeze the bag, and then it would hopefully run out of your body and not get trapped inside of you. So I guess maybe I was sort of on the ball. I can't think of a good pun. On the ass, yeah, it doesn't work. On the ass. Talk about a hole in one. Yeah, there's
no puns. There's no puns.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of that's kind of like the idea of douching. It's just to clean out the anus, and that makes it nice and clean for everybody. But at the same time, don't be super weirded out. Mason has a cat in his arms. Oh my god, that is my weakness. Yeah. Oh my lord.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I love cats so much. Anyway, back to assholes. So that's kind of the general idea of douching. And like, guys, you know, there have been a lot of really cool guys. They don't, like, if they happen to make contact with their partner's shit.
No.
Don't try to shame their partner or make their partner feel embarrassed.
Right.
Because it's very embarrassing, but it's also kind of like at the same time, most guys either ask for it or want it. So you kind of have to expect that, yeah, there's a chance of something like that happening.
Yeah.
There's a chance.
Yeah.
But there's less of a chance if you clean yourself out, and that's also going to help prevent any weird infections from happening. And also if you use a condom, which is very important. But I wanted to mention something about cats.
Oh.
Because I saw it on Tumblr, and I was thinking, this is awfully a lot like a butt plug for a cat. Have you seen where they have these like gemstone things that you can put in a cat's butthole? So it lifts its tail and it has this cute little gemstone there. It's like a charm. It's like a kitty charm or something. And I'm just sitting here like, that is a butt plug for a cat. Yeah. It's a butt plug.
I'm pretty sure it like hangs on the tail though. I don't think it goes inside.
Does it? Oh, I thought it went inside the butt.
No, I think it hangs on the tail.
Okay, well, glad we solved that. But the idea, obviously, if you've ever owned a cat, is you're always seeing their ass, like their literal butthole, and it's not necessarily appetizing.
Yeah. I think when owning a cat, like doing anal, you have to understand and expect that the butthole is going to touch every single surface. You just have to be prepared for it. It's going to be all over the place.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So we're drawing connections between cats and anal. I think we've come full circle.
Yeah, I think that's a great title. Like cat, or like something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to draw people in, and I don't know if cats are going to draw people in, but I know anal will.
Right?
So, yeah, right? Right? Okay, so we've talked a lot about anal. Now I want Amber to talk about cool sex positions to try when having anal, because you can't necessarily do all the standard sex positions that you would have with vaginal sex. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Amber.
Okay, you guys, what's up? So, I know earlier that you said missionary wasn't the best position, that it was pretty painful. But the position that I have today pretty much says otherwise.
Oh!
It's called missionary with a twist.
Okay.
And it's pretty much your person receiving is laying on their back, and then the person giving is just like normal missionary, like on top. And the twist is that the person receiving is like they have their legs up around the shoulders of the person on top, so that the person on top has more control of what's going on. And that's supposed to make things more comfortable for both people, especially if you're using the right stuff.
So the person receiving is on their stomach with their legs...
No, they're on their back.
They're all on their back with their legs up around the
ma'am.
person's shoulders. Okay, I can see how that would be more like pleasurable versus having your legs down. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Cool.
It gives you like more space to work with, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely. Especially since like the anus is more towards the back. So if you're laying on your back with your legs down, that's a lot more work, and I can definitely see where it could make the entire position uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nice. So was that it? Was that all? I like that.
Yep.
I like that. It's simple and it's good. Like it's not doggy style.
Yeah.
Which apparently everyone thinks you have to have anal sex in doggy style positions. So we have multiple positions for you. We have the twisted missionary with a twist.
Yes, ma'am.
And we have spooning with doggy style. Any other positions you've tried, Mason, that were different?
There was, I don't know what it would be called. Just laying flat on her stomach.
Yeah.
But that didn't really work
The
out
laying
well.
flat on her stomach position. Did it not? Do tell.
She just didn't enjoy it, and she just said that she actually preferred spooning more. I have personally tried doggy, and I fucking hate it because, it's just in that position. It's like my bare white ass is just like up in the sky, and I just hate it. It just kills my back to be totally. Maybe I'm a little bitch. I don't know, but I like to be comfortable when I'm having sex. So I don't like to kill my back by doing crazy doggy anal because the angle is off. It's not. It's not where I want to be. And my fucking cat's meowing. I don't know if you hear him. He's really, really loud. So
sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sex positions are definitely crucial with anal, which I think some people completely rule out. So that's the moral of that segment. Are we ready for emails?
Yes.
Are we ready? We need like an intro. Emails.
Yeah.
Emails. Who wants to make us an email intro? That'd be so cool. So this technically wasn't an email, but if you want to send in, submit to Sexpert. That's technically what we should fucking call it. I guess submit to Sexpert. Because it's not actually sending in an email. You fill out a form. But if you would like to submit to Sexpert, just go to miareneecole.com/Sexpert. And there's the form right there, and you can fill it out. Also, if you've liked us on Facebook, facebook.com/Sexpert with the word with Mia Renee. The form is posted at least once or twice a week, and actually we may pin the form to the Facebook page, so it's always there at the top. So you can submit your weird stories or your questions, and it does ask for a name field, but keep in mind that you don't have to be truthful with your name. So you can submit things anonymously, and we do ask for age, but that's only so we can have a general idea of who you are as a person and where you are in life with your questions and stories. We don't release the age publicly unless we think it's like super crucial. Okay, so email. So this was actually something that Madison, one of our regular co-hosts, texted our group chat. And it wasn't her personally, but she texted it to me, and I said, this would make such a good email. I'm like, tell this girl to submit it to Sexpert. And she didn't, but I was thinking about it, and I told Madison what I'm going to tell everyone on air, but I personally think this is a problem a lot of people experience, so it's important to inform everyone. And it's about penises, which I think goes great with anal sex, right? So, this is what Madison said, word for word. Okay, so I have a question that I got asked today about, and wasn't exactly sure what to answer with, so I wanted your input. A girl at my work said that this guy she's recently started sleeping with can't finish. They've had sex quite a few times and he's yet to finish. They go on for a while and he says he can finish when he masturbates, but never with her. I told her it might be psychological or that he may need the emotional attachment to be able to finish, but I wasn't sure what else to say other than that. And basically, I think Madison is on one right track. It definitely could be psychological. For a lot of guys, they don't want to finish too early, so they start thinking about it a lot. And it causes them to just basically not be able to finish. Or the opposite, they do finish too early. Or they're just too, they're thinking too much about sex and impressing the woman and living up to expectations and standards so much that it's hard for them to finish. So yeah, there's definitely a psychological, side road to this problem. But this is what I told Madison, and a lot of people don't think of this, is the condom. I assume, now I don't know this, but I assume they're using a condom. And this can be a thing, this has happened to me before. For a lot of guys, if they're using a condom that A, doesn't fit them well, or B, is too thick, that can basically, kind of mute their pleasure, what they're feeling. So it doesn't feel as good, they don't have that same amount of pleasure, it's harder for them to finish. Especially if the guy does jack off a lot, which can be another issue. If the guy is masturbating a lot, it can be harder for him to finish, or harder for him to finish as quickly. And that can be an issue with women too. But, so what I told her to look into was the condoms. Because a lot of people just don't think about the condom. If it's too big, it's definitely going to be too loose. If it's too tight, it's going to be entirely uncomfortable. But a lot of condoms, especially cheaper ones, are just too thick. And, and condom boxes don't, and I actually don't know this, weirdly enough, but Mason, do you know this? Condom boxes, don't they have a disclaimer, not for male pleasure, right? On the box.
The box of the condoms.
I swear, there's a disclaimer on some of them.
Yeah.
Not for male pleasure.
So, embarrassing confession, I never really read in detail the box of a condom.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I mean, I haven't either. That's why I don't know, but I didn't know if you'd know. Because some guys, are yeah, it definitely says that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. But, so you want to make sure you're buying a condom that fits well, and that isn't too thick. And I find the best ones to use are like ones that are like real skin, you know, like the ones that kind of like claim to be like the real feeling. Yeah. And yes, they can be more expensive, but it's worth it. And you can buy them like in bulk on Amazon. You don't have to buy them from CVS and using your mom's rewards card. All right, you can buy them on Amazon in bulk. Lubricated condoms also help. And also, if you ever like, you just like, what was that, Mason?
I
Do you hate lubricated condoms?
No, I have a funny story, but it's whatever.
You can tell it in just a second.
Yeah.
No, you can tell it. But lubricated condoms help. But if a guy's still having problems, another thing that really helps is taking lube. Of course, if you're ever using condoms, which you should be, use a water-based lube. Never, ever, ever use an oil-based lube. Oil eats away at latex. It's just like, that's how people get pregnant really quickly. But take a drop of lube and put it inside the condom, and that's going to help it feel more smooth for the guy while he's wearing the condom. So a lot of people just aren't aware that condoms can kind of be the problem. Mason, what's your story?
So I think I told you recently, a car accident I was in involved a girl my age backing into me in a parking lot. Long story short, everything buffed out. My cat's climbing on my chair, and it was all good. And so one day I'm actually going to it wasn't a CVS or a Walgreens. It was something kind of sort of along those lines, but they carried condoms, and it was just a situation where I needed to buy condoms, and so I did. And I didn't know this, but that girl worked there, and
funny.
And so she had to check me out, and I had like this, you know, like a couple of different like fruit juices and shit, and like. Yeah, and I think like a bag of chips, and then like a box of condoms, and it was horribly awkward. But we tried to make small talk about like how both of our cars were totally fine and it wasn't a big deal and everything, while she's like handling this box of condoms, and I fucking hate that. I hate buying condoms in person. I should start doing it online because I know it's not a big deal. I know it's respectable that you're doing that, and people shouldn't give you shit for it, because I feel like people should support you for having protected sex, but I feel like such a scumbag and such a weirdo when I do it for some reason. And
have you ever been kind of like shamed by a cashier for buying condoms?
No, never.
Okay, good.
I've had like the awkward like jokes about it and stuff and everything, but never an actual negative experience. But for some reason, I can't figure it out. I just feel bad about doing it. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, man.
That's not good. This is why we have this show. So we're breaking stigmas. This is why we have this show. So we are breaking stigmas. Yeah, and I think a lot of girls feel the same way when buying tampons.
I feel that way when buying tampons.
Yeah, I had a friend this last year who wanted me to like purchase her tampons for her with her money, and I was like, no. Yeah. Absolutely not. But I did have an ex that was shamed by a cashier for buying lube. And I was like, but I love lube, so.
Right.
So I'd be like, congratulations. That's what I'd tell someone if I worked at a store that sold condoms and lube.
I bought tampons for one of my girlfriends one time. And
you are a lifesaver.
Yeah, and I sent a photo of the box and everything. Once I got back to my car, I was like, okay, is this the right brand? Because it's like a 45-minute drive to the house on the lake that we were going to be staying that weekend. So I wanted to make sure before I leave, like the last store, like the last part of civilization, that I got the right tampons, because God forbid I have to go back. And she says, no, it's the wrong type. I was like, well, fuck.
Oh, man.
To make it worse, the person in the checkout line who checked me out was actually someone we went to school with. And all I'm gonna say, it was one of the bigger redneck guys. But he and I, you know, we were kind of on the same base, so it was okay. We just made casual conversation about it. So I had to go all the way back in, return the box, right? Not just switch it out. I actually returned the box. And I had to go back, and I was like, well, fuck it. You know, if I'm going back through, God forbid I'm going to get another stranger. So I went back through the same line and bought tampons, again, a different brand, the right brand. And that was the most embarrassing and most hilarious moment of tampon experiences I've ever had so far. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, I kind of hope I get another great experience like that, because it was okay. Because I knew everyone in the situation.
Yeah.
So it was embarrassing, but it was funny, and I feel like I don't know. I have no problems buying tampons.
That is so great. That is so cool.
Yeah.
God, no one should have a problem buying tampons, lube, condoms, whips,
Yeah.
anal beads, whatever you're buying. You shouldn't have a problem buying it. People shouldn't be shaming you, but you should purchase these things
Right.
confidently. And I think that sums up this episode, because you should be confidently exploring your sexuality. And anal sex is one of those if you want to try it. That was good. I really enjoyed this episode. I don't know if you guys did. I know Mason was like so avoiding it. Like he did not. This is his first like episode as a co-host, and he was like, "Oh my god!" Like, but did you enjoy it?
I did. I mean, yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Just oh god.
Was it good for
It's
you?
gonna be like someone. I feel like I don't know. I don't know how many people listen to the podcast. I'm assuming like 50 at the very minimum.
A few hundred.
A few hundred. Yeah, fuck it. I don't fucking know. I'm just assuming like someone I know is going to watch this, because either I'm going to tell them about it, or they're going to find it on their own or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're going to talk to me about the Nugget story. I'm going to fucking hate myself. So
I hope that every person you meet after this asks you about the Nugget story.
Ugh.
It's going to be the most famous story on the internet.
I think the worst part about that story is after that all happened and we just kind of stopped fooling around, I just went to bed. I didn't wash my hands or anything. I just fucking straight to
goodbye.
sleep.
All right. With that, we are going to end today's episode. I would like to remind everyone that we have a crowdfunding campaign. If you go to sexpert.podbean.com, there's a button, select Become a Patron, learn more about our patron system and how to give money to Sexpert so we can keep this show running for free for everyone. Also, we have our social media. I've already plugged our Facebook. That's facebook.com/Sexpert with me or Renee. We are on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, you can find us on all those platforms. It's like Sexpert or Sexpert Podcast, Sexpert with me or Renee. Please rate and review us on iTunes. We will read your reviews on the show. And you can follow me personally at Mia Renee Cole on all platforms that you could possibly think of. I'm trying this new like Snapchat campaign where you Snapchat me a picture of you, like a selfie of you listening to the show, and send it to me, and I will post it on social media. Amber, her social media and stuff will be listed below. Mason, I don't know what you want to do. You're not really a social media person anyway.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really have anything to give, and I'm sure he doesn't want to be your Facebook friend.
Oh, damn.
So, all right, with that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening and stay sexy.